Good day, everyone. I am Shekynah Ando, and today I am going to present our research study entitled Tourism and Recreational Carrying Capacity of Octopus Islet Adventure in Bacuag, Surigao del Norte, an essential instrument for sustainable tourism. Together with me are my co-researchers, Grace Ann C. Benlot, Mary Grace A. Siva, Efamae C. Tresiana, and Medielyn M. Odtojan. For the abstract, this study focused on the determination of Bacuag Octopus Islet Adventure's tourism and recreational carrying capacity. The estimated TCC for the area of Bacuag Octopus Islet Adventure is 225 visitors per day. For the specific activities, the calculated carrying capacity for swimming, viewing, zipline, and skybike are 119, 10, 16, and 8, respectively. Using image capture technology consecutively, the recreational carrying capacity by means of social indicators was 202, combining the tourists' and local residents' preferences. Thus, it is recommended to the management to implement the estimated carrying capacity of the visitors for the sustainability of the tourism area. Introduction. Sustainable tourism is concerned not only with environmental protection, but also with the economic and social aspects preserved for future generations. Carrying capacity in tourism originates in 1960s, which is defined as a tool to prevent and control overutilization of tourist spots through the identification of the ideal use level of visitors who can use the site. The Bacuag Octopus Islet Adventure is the latest tourist attraction in Bacuag, which attracts many tourists due to its challenging hanging bridge. The purpose of this research is to assess the tourism and recreational carrying capacity to strengthen the tourism and environmental sustainability of the area. Methodology. Study area. This study focused on the assessment of tourism and recreational carrying capacity limited to the area of Octopus Islet Adventure in Bacuag. Bacuag is a coastal municipality located in Mindanao's northeastern coast in the province of Surigao del Norte. The sampling was conducted at the premises of Sitio Bitao, where Octopus Islet Adventure is located. It can be tracked 44 km northeast of Bacuag, Surigao del Norte, about 30 nautical miles from Surigao City, with a land area of 2.76 hectares. The local government unit built a hanging bridge linking the mainland and the islet. It becomes the province's newest tourist attraction. So as you can see, this is the figure 1, the map of the study site. Data gathering. In selecting tourist respondents, opportunity sampling was used, which means that the sample population is those available during the sampling time, whereas systematic sampling was utilized for the local residents. Since there is only small number of households, every fifth house was the sampling interval. Thus, the preceding and following 4 houses were the selected sample. Any family members aged 18 years old and above qualified for the household survey, selecting only 1 respondent per household. The respondent of this study were the local residents that were surveyed in their houses and the tourists present at the site during the data collection. It is anticipated that the residents have been to the Octopus Islet Adventure since Sitio Bitao is a small area and the destination is just adjacent to their respective houses. The sample size for the local residents of Sitio Bitao was generated by the RAWSOFT-TM sample size online calculator. Moreover, the management does not hold exact records on the average number of tourists visiting the area. Therefore, the ideal sample size for the tourist was calculated utilizing Cochrane formula, which is shown in the screen. Cochrane formula provide an ideal sample size if there is no information available about the population size. Data analysis. Moreover, the analysis for TCC values will be evaluated applying the BCCMM. First level, BCC will be obtained through the area used by visitors over average visitor standard. For the standard space, 30 square meter per person in the tropics will be adopted from the World Tourism Organization standard space requirements in beach areas. Second level, PCC will be obtained by multiplying BCC to RC, where RC is equal to the total number of Rs a specific area is used. Third level, RCC is obtained through multiplying PCC on the quotient of the subtracted 100 to a respective limiting factor over 100, where limiting factor is equal to the limiting magnitude of the factor over the total magnitude of the factor multiplied by 100. On the other hand, in recreational carrying capacity, descriptive analysis was utilized, namely cross tabulations, social norm or impact acceptability curve, and importance performance matrix for measuring satisfaction to understand relationships between importance and performance. For the results, tourism and carrying capacity, the table showed the summary of data calculation of TCC for the area with the total area of 27,600 meters squared and standard area requirement of 30 meters squared. BCC is 920 visitors per day. With the calculated BCC, the potential carrying capacity was determined. The rotation coefficient was calculated by the quotient of the time an area is open for use and the average response of the respondents enjoyed time with the respective activities, which is 4 hours. The PCC is 3,680 visitors per day. To determine the RCC, several limiting factors were considered, specifically bad weather conditions such as typhoon and rainfall, intense sunlight, and COVID-19 pandemic. The RCC is 225 visitors per day. For swimming, an area of 16,295.42 meters squared, standard area requirement of 30 meters squared, available time for activity per day is 8 hours, average tourist time is 1.30 hours, and the RC of 8 hours and the limiting factors considered, BCC is 543 swimmers per day, PCC is 3,258 swimmers per day, and RCC is 199 swimmers per day. For the viewing, an area of 27,600 meters squared, average area requirement of 807.9 meters squared, available time for activity per day is 8 hours, average tourist time is 1.67 hours, and the RC of 5 hours, and the same limiting factors were implied. BCC is equal to 34 viewers per day, PCC is 170 viewers per day, and the RCC is 10 viewers per day. For the zipline, only 2 levels were measured, namely basic carrying capacity and real carrying capacity. Potential carrying capacity was not calculated since the carrying capacity was based on rides per day instead of weight capacity. With an allowed zipline riding time of 480 minutes, number of tourists per ride is 1 person, estimated time use of 3.31 minutes, and the limiting factors, BCC is 145 riders per day and RCC is 16 riders per day. For the skybike, only 2 levels were also measured, BCC and RCC. PCC was not also calculated. With an allowed skybike riding time of 480 minutes, number of tourists per ride is 1 person, estimated time use of 6.82 minutes, and the limiting factors, BCC is 70 riders per day, and RCC is 8 riders per day. On the other hand, among the 4 activities offered in the site, visitors preferred viewing, who ranked first with 274 results, since people find it relaxing while enjoying the landscape. Then, followed by swimming with 220, zipline and skybike are the third and fourth most popular activities among tourists and locals, respectively. The results reveal the estimation of visitors in a day, which could be a guideline for the permissible users of the activities. Swimming, viewing, zipline, and skybike are the recreational activities that are accessible for the tourists on the site. Recreational carrying capacity. Social indicators. Social norms can be used to estimate standards for social indicators and examine the extent to which these standards are being met or exceeded at a particular location. Figure 2 shows the images used in perceiving crowds for the preferred number of visitors of the respondents. Measuring norms involved respondents rating their acceptance to visitors' density of 6 photographs in Figure 2, and was coded in a 5-point scale of -2 as very unacceptable to 2 as very acceptable, if it was to occur at Octopus Islet Adventure. The average acceptability ratings of the tourists and local residents were plotted on a social norm curve. As described in Figure 3, the impact acceptability curve shows that local residents rated acceptable photographs A, B, and C, containing 0, 50, and 100 people per 500 by 200 yards, while tourists rated acceptable photographs A and B. Moreover, it is also revealed that the local residents considered photographs C, D, E, and F containing 100, 200, 400, and 800 people per 500 by 200 yards to be unacceptable at Octopus Islet Adventure. It can be observed from the graph. For tourists, photograph C would be good for their enjoyment and experience, but for local residents, photograph F, an overcrowded area, would have an opposite effect to them. The minimum acceptable condition for the local respondents was established as 260 people per 500 by 200 yards, and for the local respondents were 145 people per 500 by 200 yards, as to where the curve intersects neutral line. This point can be used to represent the standard quality for this site before conditions deteriorate. Table 7 shows that there was an amount of crystallization on acceptable conditions of Octopus Islet Adventure. This is the average standard deviation of the norm curve. A low value implies higher degree of crystallization, in which the data shows that tourists have higher degree of crystallization, whereas local residents have a moderate agreement with their responses. Recreational carrying capacity facility indicators. As shown in Figure 4, most of the tourists and residents were satisfied with many aspects of the site. However, there are still respondents that are less satisfied with the presence of lifeguards and information signs. Sadly, lifeguards and information signs are lacking at Octopus Islet Adventure. With these findings, it is recommended that these concerns should be monitored and improved to ensure that satisfaction does not decline in the future. Figure 5 shows that a significantly higher number of both residents and tourists consider Octopus Islet Adventure's facilities to be crucially significant. Respondents were also satisfied with all above-mentioned facilities. To conclude, the findings suggest that the management of the Octopus Islet Adventure should keep up the good work in making a positive impression on tourists and locals. This means that the materials used, design or structure, comfortability, service, staff, and safety of the respective facilities provided by the site are sufficient and adequate. Facilities that are convenient satisfy the respondents' expectation, and are fundamental recreational and tourism quality experience. Perceiving the preferences, expectations, and experiences of the users can yield an immediate process of effective, sustainable tourism. Thus, the results inferred that facility indicators were rated acceptable for users' accommodation. To conclude, tourists and residents have different perspectives and preferences with regards to usage and experience of Bacuag Octopus Islet Adventure. The study considered the relevance of the host community for the determination of carrying capacity. Since both influences management plan, it would be advantage to the management to provide effective sustainable tourism of the site. The tourism carrying capacity of the area and the activities were based on the covered area, rotation coefficient, and the three limiting factors. One of the limiting factors is the new normal, which is the pandemic. Hence, any values of the carrying capacity of the permissible number of users were minimized accordingly. Using image capture technology consecutively, tourists prefer a higher number of visitors than local residents. The majority of the respondents, furthermore, rated all characteristics as important and was satisfied with most aspects of their visit. Nevertheless, the availability of lifeguards and signages was evaluated as negative aspect for some of the respondents. It is recommended for the management to have a good knowledge and application of carrying capacity towards sustainable tourism of Bacuag Octopus Islet Adventure. That's all for our presentation. Thank you for listening.